All right, so now we've touched on how habits are created and the power of tiny habits. Let's actually specifically look at some examples using nutrition and the ways clients can build their own plates to meet their needs or their sense of identity. First, when we think about a plate, it's important to stress that nutrition is not black and white. Clients want it to be, and let's be honest, it would be so easy for us to simply give people those nutrition rules. Eat this, don't eat that. But there's much more to nutrition than what to eat or not to eat. What if you're out with coworkers or friends, you're at a social event, or it's a big holiday and you're surrounded by different foods and alcohol? All of these things can make it a challenge to continue to achieve what our clients are working towards. That said, let's simply look at what a plate could look like and to allow you to better talk to clients about their eating situation. So what we have here is a general plate, right? And now this recommendation isn't specifically low carb, low fat, vegan, gluten-free, or anything. It's a way to balance your plate that can meet the needs of most clients and allow for personalization, since no one diet is universal. Okay, getting back to this plate. So here we have this plate. I'm gonna have you imagine that it's divided in half. Now I want half of that plate at each meal to be some kind of produce, fruits, vegetables, etc. And this is where the personalization gets into it, right? So what do clients like, dislike? Okay, if they don't love strawberries, for example, that's not a great recommendation. So figuring out with them what they can fill up that plate with. Then now let's be honest, that might be way off the charts for them. Most people eat about 2 or so servings of total fruits and vegetables a day. Now I'm saying half a plate with produce, that might be a pretty big leap for them. So figuring out where they are, meeting them where they are, and starting small is important. Okay, so we have half the plate is filled. The other half of the plate now can be divided into 2 quarters. 1 quarter should be some kind of grain. Some kind of grain, quinoa, brown rice, white rice, oats, depending on what you're making or eating, pasta, farro, there's tons of options there. The last quarter of the plate should be some kind of protein, okay? So about what fits in the palm of your hand. The thickness and size of the palm of your hand, it could be a little bigger than that, should be protein. And that could be an animal-based protein, chicken, turkey, fish, pork, meat, whatever, one of those options, or there's others out there as well. Or there's other non-animal options. It's eggs, tofu, beans, this combination of these things, beans and rice together, lots of different options. So again, it doesn't have to be just an animal-based diet, it doesn't have to be a vegetarian diet, some combination, or even more important than that, talking and working with your client to see what would best fit their needs and their desires. And that's particularly important when we start to get into the personalization of this, right? Again, what fruits and vegetables do they like and do they think they can enjoy on a consistent basis? And I keep saying fruits and vegetables. Keep in mind, a lot of times people, clients, trainers say that, I've heard bananas are high in sugar or mangoes or whatever it may be. I'm here to say that I've been a dietitian about 20 years now, and I can assure you I've never talked to someone and be like, you know what, it's the blueberries. If we could just scale back on those, you're skyrocketing success. It doesn't work like that. All produce is amazing. Enjoy it on the regular. And then again, allowing for some flexibility. What grains do they like, don't they like? Mixing and matching to meet them where they are, along with providing some quality suggestions so they can make this work for them. You're out with coworkers, you're out at the social event. Well, how can you generally estimate how a plate may be broken up? There's so many different options. Again, we don't always eat off of a plate either, right? So it's personalization. Maybe it's you made a smoothie. So how would you break down that smoothie? Well, you have the protein powder, you made it with milk, you put some fruit in there. So figuring out and talking with your clients, the bowl, we eat a bowl sometimes. It's a bowl of cereal. Well, you have the milk for protein, the cereal for the grain, you put some fruit on top, right? So we can mix and match to make this work for our clients. Nutrition isn't black and white. And again, our job is to help them figuring out what can work for them, figuring out their identity, and how they can best fuel their bodies. Here's an example of someone I worked with. So I worked with a professional athlete, and she traveled a little over 300 days a year. Yes, I said over 300 days a year. When I was talking to her, she had mentioned that she was not going to be home again for the next 2 months, not in her own home for 2 more months. That means she was going to be flying in planes all night, many nights, across the world on a consistent basis. Thinking about how I talk to her about nutrition, it's going to vary a lot from someone who is a stay-at-home mom or dad, for example, or even just someone who works a traditional kind of 9-to-5 job, right? So we need to think about there's some personalization, working with clients to meet their needs, to meet their desires, and really then ultimately helping them get to the outcomes they want. So there you have it. When we think about how to build a plate, that's an easy way to think about these tiny habits over time. Making that plate work may not be an overnight switch and happen breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? But over time, what you want to get to is aiming for that goal for your clients to best serve themselves and get their desired outcomes. We'll see you in the next video.